Speaking of family men, we know the brother, Guy Ferrari, from just being on cooking shows. Every time they pop up on my Instagram feed, they're going to restaurants. I'm not sure if they had a specific show. They would go to different restaurants and try their food. I guess that's a lot of shows on Food Network or whatever it's called. And you know what's interesting? I don't want to get into a whole tangent, but some of these guys, diners, drive-ins, and drives. That's one of the shows. Some of these guys, when they're known for a specific thing, like again, they just go around and eating at restaurants and testing their food, say it was really good, whatever the case may be. I mean, highlighting certain restaurants. You know them for that, and you don't really know them too much. It's kind of hard to describe. It's kind of like when you watch a content creator or streamer and you know them for that one thing, but then all of a sudden that you see them in an interview talk about something else, and it's like this guy has opinions. This is what I kind of came to my head when I heard this, but because I didn't even know the guy had a whole family, but maybe he must have talked about that in some of his shows or content, so maybe that's not a big surprise. But not only does he have a family, obviously he's relatively successful, so you would start thinking about what he would leave to his children. But according to him, he's just not gonna leave or give up his family inheritance just like that. Nah, 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 nah. His kid gotta work for it. So to the shade room. They posted a post. Guy Fieri says that he doesn't plan to leave his children any of his fortune unless they obtain 2 degrees. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
Me. My dad says, when I die, you can expect that I'm going to die broke and you're going to be paying for the funeral. And I told my boys, none of this that I've been building are you going to get unless you come and take it from me. So if you want it, so my nephew Jules is in the music industry down in LA. He's in the law program at Loyola Marymount right now. If you're going to be a big time entertainment agent, you need to have that law background. So he's doing that. And my youngest son, Ryder, is a senior in high school, getting ready to graduate, going to graduate in the spring. And he's like, Dad, this is so unfair. I haven't even gone to college yet. And you're already pushing that I got to get an MBA. He says, can I just get through college? I'm like, hey, it's if you want, Shaq said it best. Shaq said it about his kids one time. He says, if you want any of this cheese, you got to give me 2 degrees. Well, my 2 degrees mean, postgraduate. So they're on their way. I told them the same thing my dad.
And we actually talked about that topic. So look at that. It's like a topic inception. Yeah, there you have it. And it seemed like he's effectively kind of taking on that Shaq model. Also, this has nothing to do with nothing. Literally, don't listen to me right now. But salute to all the individuals out there that have multiple degrees. Yes. I need to put those on my wall. I got 2 degrees.
But you got multiple degrees?
Technically, but not so.
That sounds like a fraud degree, low key.
I have a degree in electrical engineering. I have a degree in industrial engineering.
Really? Okay, that's legit.
I do have 2 degrees, but regardless, I guess
you just had to shout yourself. Look at you patting yourself on the back.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If I was his son, I might. Well, actually, that's where the caveat comes in. They're not postgraduate, but that's it. That's neither nor there. But yeah, he follows the line of thinking that, and I don't know if y'all caught it, but you heard when he was talking about, what he was saying, what I built up.
Yep, yeah, I caught that. Yeah,
he had to clarify. He's not just letting go of the things he built up. And it says the diners, drive-in, and drive star Guy Fieri is laying down the law regarding what will happen as to his future fortune. In a recent interview with Fox News, Ferrari shared that he plans to die broke unless he plan. That's not. I don't think that's what he was trying to say. He plans to die broke unless his children obtain 2 degrees to inherit his fortune. He said his own father expressed the same sentiment. I told my boys none of this that I've been building are going to get unless you come and take it from me. According to people, Fieri recently signed a new contract with the Food Network that is worth an estimated 100 million. Jesus, that's a couple generations worth of funds, and he's obviously a hardworking brother. So I mean there you have it. And we heard multiple artists, entertainers, celebrities, what have you, express the sentiment like I've built an entire dynasty And now I have children, and obviously I want to impart it onto them. Everyone works hard so that their children can have a better life than they have. But at the same time, this is not we're not going to give this for free. You have to work for it. And in his case, he's demonstrating it by saying, "Hey, you got to get 2 degrees," which I mean actually isn't really the hardest thing. I've heard some parents say, "Hey, you got to be like the top of your class. You got to scale your own business first. You have to like do X, Y, Z." So, I'm not downplaying the college or the efforts you have to put into to get like multiple degrees, but I think schoolwork in general is way down the totem pole of like the things that a parent could make you do. But I guess I'm just kind of interested to hear y'all's take on this. I don't think it'll be too many disagreements, but what do y'all think? Do y'all agree? And would you even recommend this type of parenting where your kids like have to work really hard in order for them to get the rewards of what you built up? Or do you think to some degree, I mean, yeah, you're not really in the interest of making your children go like above and beyond just to like get what the families already have? What do you think, Ghost? Sorry.
Uh, on a base level, I agree with conceptually what he's saying, in that you're not just gonna get free millions of dollars for doing nothing just because he's rich. Like, he's saying you got to go out and do something to deserve it, in essence, which I do agree with. But I'm tired, bro. College is not the final goal we should be striving towards. Like, it's really not. And I say this as someone with a college degree and all that.
Yes, we're all college educated here. If anyone's
It's
interested.
it's like, uh we don't got to get into a whole thing on college, the concept of it in general, but it's like you're paying all this money, all this inflation. I think everyone's seen graphs of your income versus college tuition 20 years ago, 40 years ago versus now. And I'm just kind of done with it. I think it's all bullshit. Like, the point of college degrees is, and why I think he's requiring it, and what I partially agree with him on that, is that it takes work and dedication and commitment to get a degree in the first place, which is important to show. And those qualities, I think, is what he's looking for before he gives over the money willy nilly. But it shouldn't be hard a lot to call. Like, it's kind of like the mentality that we've been deluded into, in that you have to go to college to become successful. You have to go to college to make it, which, surface level, there would be nothing wrong with that if it weren't for the fact that colleges at this point are like just scamming. It's a scam, bro. It's a scam. Like, they
Does
could
the
charge a
does
tenth
the
less.
scam apply to them though? Like he, I'm assuming he's at least footing the bill to put them through
Yeah,
college, and
again,
he
it's
does
not
have the money.
like for him. I'm not talking about for him specifically, because he can
Okay.
obviously afford it. I'm assuming he's fronting the cost for that. But when I say the scam, I mean from the college's perspective. You're scamming people. Like, they could charge a tenth less of what they're getting now, and they're upcharging because they can, because it's been pushed and pushed and pushed that college is a must. You have to. If you don't get a degree, you're not going to do anything. Which is, like,
Yeah,
again, there's nothing wrong with a degree
technically
fundamentally.
there is like data to support that we've seen.
There's data to support it, but I kind of feel like it's skewed in a sense, because like, again, all our parents, and like this recent, I don't like know the exact origin when it started, like millennials or whatever, if it was before that boom, whatever, I don't know. But the recent generations all have been had it drilled into them: you have to go to college, you have to get a degree, and if you don't, then you're gonna be flipping burgers. Like, that's really what it has been told. And if you hear that and you still don't go to college, then you're kind of, I'm trying to think of the right term for it. Like I don't know if like a correlation or causation thing. I don't know if that's the right phrase exactly, but if you don't, if you've had that drilled into your entire life and you still don't have commitment to go forward with college, and I'm not saying this like, if there's obviously some extenuating circumstances, health, money, and all that, but if you have the opportunity, you still don't do it, and you just kind of laze around. It's like a self fulfilling prophecy. Like, yeah, you're not going to be successful because you don't have the temperament for it in the first place. So I think that's kind of skewing the data. And I just feel like a lot
I
of the
think
people
I see what
that,
you're saying.
it's like a lot of people that are going to college, they could have succeeded without it. And I'm just tired of all these universities and all these, like, you like just making all this money, and it just, the prices keep increasing. People, the pay is not increasing at a rate that can support the tuition that are being charged like it was in the past. And it's just, I don't know, I kind of got off topic here, but I just think that requiring, especially to postgraduate, bro, like a bachelor's is bad enough, but postgrad, it's like a waste of,
I mean, degree inflation is real.
yeah, it really is. And that's really why I have a mindset that you don't, like, again, my job, what I do, I if we brought in someone that has a high school degree, never went to college, but they have the right temperament for it, they could in a year be doing what I'm doing, not as well, but be doing what I'm doing with an engineering degree, and be doing it, well, the same degree as someone that has graduated. Like, it's just kind of propped up, and it's not, it shouldn't be needed to be successful. It shouldn't be like, if you don't have a degree, then you're worth nothing. You can't get anything, any of my money, because like I think like the point of a degree is to show that you have the commitment, you have the work ethic to do it. But it shouldn't, you can show that in other ways. And
So
I don't know.
what would be an alternative to the college system? Would it be like an apprenticeship system for I mean, working for actual jobs instead of
I mean,
going through the college system?
an apprenticeship system, like, you can try to start your own business without the need of college. Like, even college itself, I'm not necessarily opposed to the base degree of it, the base idea of it, but if you lower the cost, like, by 75% at least of what
I
people are paying now.
mean, let's keep it to like realistic there. No, it's not. That's not
I
happening.
mean, I get it, but I'm saying it shouldn't have
What you're
turned into what
saying
it is now.
isn't realistic.
I'm not necessarily going for realism. I'm just going for what I think in my mind would be a suitable alternative. And
Well, let's.
again, like they
I
could
think
they
I think
could
we'd want to
lose
stick to realism. No.
ace
No,
ask
no, no, I'm not speaking from a
specifically
I'm not speaking from realism.
what
I'm speaking
alternatives
from
or what
ideal.
other
Like
options there are.
Why
Yeah,
would you
like
want? Why would you want
ideally,
an unrealistic alternative?
because I mean,
Isn't not
say
isn't
he
isn't not, if we're just looking for isn't it like an
just
unrealistic
because
idea? Like
it's
we
been
all get $1 million and we don't, and nobody has to go to school.
okay. Let me frame it like this: 50 years ago, I'm kind of going back a long while, but 50 years ago, people went to college, people graduated and all that, but the cost that they had to put forward was so much less, and
Yes, we know that
universities were
everything was cheaper.
yeah,
50 years ago, we get gas for $1, less than $1.
listen, relative to salary, relative to inflation, relative to the cost of the dollar. It's like, there's charts and there's graphs out there, like, if you like, I'm throwing a random number out there right now, but like, if we were paying relative to our salaries, relative to the global economy, now what they paid for college back then, it'd be like $15,000 versus 50,000. Again, I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't have the exact stats on it,
It's fine. The thing is,
but
no one's arguing that college is not expensive and that it hasn't gotten like exponentially expensive.
well, I'm saying, Fro, you're talking about from a realism, like a realism perspective, that's saying it's not realistic to expect them to decrease tuition prices. I'm saying
Right.
it's not, but they easily can because in the past it's worked. It's worked where they can still make their money, but it's just the greed that is taking over. It's just increases so exponentially because it can get away with it.
Fair
That's what I'm
enough.
looking at it from.
I guess I'm not even arguing that they couldn't do it. I'm just saying they won't do it. That's not realistic.
I mean, the thing I proposed is just like, which was doing apprenticeships as opposed to college is something that obviously isn't realistic as well. So I was just saying, what would the ideal
Yeah, like
be in
again,
Ghost's opinion?
Well, I mean that is a bit more realistic because there are like trades in some industries which they do that. Um, and I don't
but
think there's
he's not like again for Guy Fieri and for his family and his descendants. College is 100%, post grad is 100% on the table, and there's no problem because he can easily afford it. But I
right.
feel like it just reinforces the idea for everyone else that is not Guy Fieri, doesn't have millions at the
Okay, I
disposal.
think we it took us a
That
while to get. I think we got to your point. You're talking about so like if a middle class or even lower class family put this type of pressure on their kids, that's not wholly productive because of like all the facets of what we're talking about here. Like the lower class or the middle class family can't uh just wholesale put their children through college, and the rewards for going to college is not going to even match what they have to put into it.
essentially yes, and
Okay. I got you. Yeah, and maybe this is a conversation more so for like the wealthy. Like, would you want your child to go through this type of route in life where they have to perform before you give them your fortune? Maybe that is an idea. But we do like to try to be all encompassing here. So for people that aren't extremely wealthy, is this a productive way to go about it? Like, I'm going to give you what I can give, or I'll leave you whatever I can give if you grind your way through all these facets of higher education. But if you do that, you might not even get the reward just for your specific self, which I can agree. But I guess just like how that wouldn't make sense for like again a lower to middle class family. I think you just have to kind of scale it. Like maybe you just say, hey, if you get like some type of trade certificate or some type of, or an associate's degree, I mean that would make sense, right?
yeah, and you're right. And if we're looking at it just from a rich person's perspective, it it changes the framing of the scenario. But just looking at it again, just taking the middle class, I guess, out of the equation, if we were just looking at it in his scenario for his kids, I'm still not really on board with it because when it comes down to it, like I said, the whole thing like someone else could be doing my job with no degree. It
Well, I mean we don't
it
have
feels like if
to
you're
get to our
forcing
literal personal lives.
if you're forcing someone forcing your kids to get 2 degrees, even if you can fully afford it, and they get the degrees and then they can get the money, it just feels like it feels kind of pointless. Like the only thing that you've proved is that you have dedication,
All
and
right.
getting college
I
That's
degrees.
a
think
big
is
one.
yeah. So it's a big
This
thing.
okay,
It's not a slight
okay,
thing.
yes, it's a big thing, but getting college degrees should not be the only thing that you can do to showcase that. I guess that's kind of my whole point. And it
Uh,
feels like it's been framed like that is the only way you can showcase it when it shouldn't be at all.
I mean, even if I concede or give that charitability to where that is true, I think somebody would make the case it is one of the most productive ways to showcase dedication.
Is it?
I mean,
Is
productive
it
in the
productive? Is it
productive
really?
productive maybe isn't the right word. It is like it's the
Uh,
it's the best.
It's the easiest kind of like
mm,
as
I
Is
wouldn't
it easy?
I
Like
wouldn't even say it's the
it,
easiest. It's like the
it,
surest proof of it if you complete it.
okay,
Look,
you're right. You're right. Y'all both right, but I'm saying it shouldn't be. Like it's been you've
oh
just
yeah,
kind of been
yeah. I don't want to like keep going around conversations about what should or like.
I
We're just
get
talking
it,
about
but
like what is and like does this make sense based off of what is.
Yeah. I'm kind of off topic here, but it's really frustrating that like we can acknowledge it and say, yeah, it is kind of the proven method at this point in our society, but we
I mean, there's
shouldn't
nothing
be
wrong.
okay with that. We shouldn't be.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with venting frustrations. I mean, we weren't wholesale talking about specific college. That's why it's kind of
Yeah,
sus,
I
but
know, I know.
it's fine. I mean, there's a
I,
lot of things. There's a lot of things in life that
I
are
feel like if
messed
he had
up, but
said to his kids instead, like, if you're trying to start your own business and you have a good business model, you have a good foundation, you have a good plan, but you need the capital, you need the money or whatever, then that would also be a suitable thing where you don't need the college degree specifically, but you have a plan and goal for the rest of your life and you just need the money to bring it to fruition.
yeah, I don't. I
That
don't want to. I don't want to get into all the ins and outs of like starting a business, and depending on your background, your environment, your network, that can range from a task that takes a lot of hard work and dedication, but is very feasible to somebody that like they could they could be punching at that wall their entire life and it's never gonna crack. So I think I don't know. Whenever we get into the starting your own business conversation, like that needs a lot of like context before we can say like that's the proper route to showcase anything. Because like, what is the metric of starting a business? Anyone can literally just go get an LLC. We can do that right away.
like I
But
said, they have to showcase they have a good business plan, a good business model. It's been thought out. Like they've put thought in. It's not a perfect method, but I'm just saying, like,
but
if
what but
you're saying they
what
have,
verifies it's a good plan? Just go, like little Timmy could.
he's a successful business man. He's worth millions. He could look at it and
Yeah, but there are people that are millionaires that try to start new businesses and they don't pop off.
yeah. I mean, again, it doesn't even mean that your business is going to succeed. It just means that you're putting the thought and the dedication into it. Like the
But I'm
point of
saying
it for me isn't that the business has to become successful. It's just it feels like if you're telling them you have to get 2 degrees or that's it, you're like boxing people into
you're
certain.
saying, and I'm gonna let you go soon, but you're saying that presenting a good business plan that looks like it's good on paper is a better indication of hard work and dedication than college. 4 years, 5 years, 8 years of college.
I'm not saying it's better. I'm saying it can be an alternative to. The whole point is to show that you have the drive to deserve the money, right?
Yeah, so you'd want
Like,
something that's equivalent to the hard work and dedication of college.
uh, I just,
I mean, if you like, that's why we're saying like that's why we're kind of saying it's
you
like
need to show. You need to show
a
that.
surefire or like that route, because if you do complete it, it shows even if you didn't gain anything from it, even if you net negative on the money, even if you barely did it, like the route to succeeding in college and getting that degree or getting those degrees is an incredibly hard road. Like,
That's what I have a. That's what I have a problem with.
no one can discredit that.
That's what I have. Like, you're right, but why is that the only way to show it? Just
I
4 years
mean,
of banging
I
your head
mean,
against the wall, and then that shows
Ace
you have
asked you
dedication.
what are alternatives, and we weren't able to come up with a bevy of them that are equivalent.
Oh, if you hold the job, a job for any job for 4 years,
Any
I think
job,
that yes, any job for the
I
equivalent.
can work at a pizza shop rolling dough for 4 years, and that's equivalent to college.
It shows that, bro, yes,
All right,
it shows.
no,
That's
no,
wild.
No,
no, no,
no, no,
no,
no.
Thanks, Bobby.
now you lost it. Now you lost it. Now you lost me. I'm sorry.
You're showing that I'm kind of being facetious, but at the same time,
No,
you're
you gotta
showing
get
you have
unfacetious.
dedication to do a shit job that you don't
A
enjoy.
shit job in the grind of college is not in the one and the same. They're not equivalent.
Kind of are like again, a lot of
No,
college is
kind of
just
not.
point. A lot of
If-
college is pointless. Like you barely remember anything you really learned in college.
I
It's
mean, even
all
if
it's all about just showcasing your soft skills. Really, you can work with other people. You can meet deadlines. You can do this. You
Mm,
can do that.
maybe we should like what's the expression? Backseat this conversation, table this conversation until like another time because we're kind of getting off topic.
Yes.
We're not here to debate college here. Ace, what do you think about this style of parenting? You think it makes sense that you have to hold your children to a high standard before they can reap the benefits of your hard work?
Yes, I think outside of the specifics of this, the requirement being a degree in Guy Fieri's case, um, I do think like, especially for people with a lot of wealth, um, I think it's extremely important for them to hold their children to a high standard because the more wealth you grow up with, the easier you have it in life. I think it is the easier it is to like grow up with just a I don't know a character that kind of doesn't appreciate
Mm,
the hard work that even your own parents were put into to give you the life that you have. So yeah, I mean basically at the end it's very easy to become spoiled. So
yeah.
um so yeah, I in general like I do agree with holding your children to a high standard and enforcing that in in a way like this like um um it coming down to basically inheriting um his fortune. There's going to be requirements for that. I don't have any problem with that. I think that's a good idea. And then like I think I'm trying to think if there's other ways that it could be done just off the top of my head. I mean, I think just looking back at my past, like my dad had me working with him from a young age, and up to the point where I was able to do certain things on my own, and when I got into high school, and I think that was very important in shaping like my concept of work and how to be productive
Hmm.
and yeah, just in general, like appreciating the things that he was doing day in and day out in order to put food on the table. So for a guy Fieri, his children, he has his brand, um, you know, and obviously he's known for um, being associated with like food and cooking and things like that. So I don't know if he's a chef or not. I'm not too familiar with him. I just know
I
him
see a
from
chef. You can't just be a Food Network
I guess he does have
superstar without knowing how to cook.
yeah. So I mean that would be like the obvious thing in my mind is like have your children learn learn what you do, even if that's not necessarily what they want to do. They'll still get an appreciation for it. They'll get a skill,
Hmm.
and yeah, it'll build their character up from there. As far as I don't think that would necessarily be the end though. Like in my mind, for getting the inheritance, just like working for me, uh, or working with me or whatever as you grow up. But um, I think that would at least be a start. Um, and then yeah, like in terms of the business thing, like Ghost was saying, um, maybe it's not just you have a business proposal, but it's that you did get to the point where you were able to run um maybe not like super successful business, but you have a business that is kind of is not collapsing basically, it's not going bankrupt, or you're able to sell a business for
Yeah.
a certain amount of money, things like that. Like if you can prove that you can do things like that, then even if there's no college degree, you don't have a college degree, um, that I think that would probably be the an alternative route. But I do think it would be more. more difficult as well. I think it would be more difficult to get to the point where you're able to run a
A
business.
successful business, I actually would agree with that, and that's why I was like just bringing a plan about a business or having a quote unquote even a good plan. That's one
Yeah,
thing. But if you're running a successful business, I always say that's equivalent or greater than the 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 time and effort that would go into college. Absolutely.
exactly, exactly. So, I mean, if you want to make your kids work harder, then yeah, that could be the requirement. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I tend to largely agree. And I think college is always going to be a relatively safe. Again, not talking about what you'll net gain, not talking about how you do or how you get there, but a safe way to test somebody um, when it comes to their critical thinking, their project management, their time management, all these facets. Like the actual things that you recall and the skills that you adapt in college. Maybe that's not going to one to one translate to when you get your degree, but it does showcase a lot of hard work and dedication. And I think there are maybe not a whole lot of them, but there are other ways to demonstrate that ability, that dedication, that hard work. So yeah, I think that's what it really boils down to. I think, like you're saying, there's nothing wrong with putting your children through some level of growing up to become a productive member of society. Depending on the context of where your family is at, if you have a large fortune, then maybe put more pressure on them, but some level of hey, you got to work hard for this, and not to say that if you're at a lower class, you don't have to work equally hard, but you might have to. You might be able to do it through less expensive methods. Although even starting a business could be expensive. Just based off your relative scale of life. For some people, what's the funniest thing? I've heard the same sentiment for parents saying that to their children for like high school. Like, hey, we've had an incredibly hard life. Like we're living in an environment where a lot of people don't even make it out. If you at least finish high school, I'm proud of you, and I'll impart whatever I can. So it really depends on what level we're talking about in life. And to a certain degree, even though I look back at a lot of the high school work that I used to do, I was such like a dumbass. Like literally, just do it. The math, it's like algebra. Like, what's wrong with you? Uh, but me aside, yeah. So yeah, it's all within the context. But it is good to try to get your children in the mindset of hey, life is always going to be hard, so you have to work hard for the things that you want. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. I'm sure we'll have many more topics about college and higher education to where we can dig deep into that topic. That topic. And actually,
Okay.
no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm kind of shocked at how like passionate Ghost is about it. Or it sounds like this is something you just constantly be thinking about.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Kind,
One, like you never know what you are
it
passionate
kind
about
of do me.
or strongly agree about till you bump into a topic. But I guess maybe you're thinking about it a lot. What I was gonna say is actually bring up the logic joint. I thought I had these in different order, but yeah, bring up the logic. That kind of is a better tie into something like this than